Let's begin with some deep breaths, rooting ourselves in our breath. Deep in through the nose, holding it at the top for a few seconds, making sure you've filled your lungs as much as you can. And then exhaling, blowing out, allowing it to escape slowly on its own. Then at the end, a last exhale to fully empty your lungs. Let's do another. Now that we've rooted ourselves in our breath and reminded ourselves of our control over this aspect of our bodily functions, I invite you to take another breath, but this time think about how, with your breath, with the act of expanding your lungs and sucking in air, it is a part of your spirit reaching out to the world, reaching out to the external universe, asking for air and receiving air. And once you've received that air, you exhale and return back to nature's systems, to the universe, that which you no longer need. A mixture of gases, but a lot of carbon dioxide, which plants then need, linking you to the chain of creation through your breath. I invite you to take a few more deep breaths just like this, reminding yourself that with each breath, you are making a request of the world around you, seeking that air, that oxygen, and you are immediately answered with yes. You're immediately provided that which you request. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. Atavrata yitzarta tanefachta bi be'ata mishamra bekirbi. Kol zman sheneshama bekirbi. Modeh ani lefanecha. Adonai Elohai, Elohei Avotai Vimotai, Ribon Kol Hamasim, Adon Kol Hanishamot, Baruch Atah Adonai, Asher Beyado, Nefesh Kol Chai, Beruach Kol Basar Ish. My God, the breath you have granted me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as this breath is within me, I offer thanks to you, Adonai, my God and God of my ancestors. source of all creation, sovereign of all breath. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hands is every living breath and the spirit of humankind. As we wake each day, we may find our bodies feeling a little bit different, may find our minds in different places, our moods range depending upon the day, immediately upon waking. Yet, with each mood, with each wakefulness of the mind, of the personality, we're able to shift our perspective. We're able to discern what is real, what is not, what is projection, what exists. We're also able to discern that which we have power over and that which we do not. I invite you to take a couple of deep breaths. Check in with where you are right now. What mood did you wake up in today? What concerns are knocking at the back door of your mind, even as you focus on your breath? What fears are echoing, bringing themselves forward from yesterday? And which of these things has a real impact on you? And which of these things can you have a real impact upon? Just take another deep breath in through your nose. Slowly breathing out through your mouth once again, recognizing that prayer for breath that happens each time we breathe in was answered. And allow yourself to reflect on the question, where are you emotionally, mentally right now? What is influencing that feeling that is the preponderance of how you are today? And what can you do in response to it for good, to highlight the good, or to quell the anxiety? Take a few more prayer breaths, acknowledging that that which you need is right before you. As you go within and pay extra attention to your mood and your feeling, what new insights arise? In what way is your internal gaze opened to a new perspective? As you sort through these new perspectives, as you parse out your feelings and emotions and their roots in your mind and your memory, and your consciousness, which ones provide you freedom? Not freedom in a sense of being able to take as many actions as you wish, but freedom as in a sense of lowered anxiety, of peace with your surroundings, of a sense of fitting into a specific space having an upright perspective in which you see which actions you can take for your own good and for the good of others. Perspective of peace. Continue to breathe, remembering each breath is an answered prayer. What foundation do you have upon which all else rests? When you dig down deep past the passing moods and feelings of the moment, of the day, even the week, what fixed bottom of thought, personality, of wholeness resides the very bottom of your self-perception? What foundation of you is always present and always accessible? Providing you a vantage point to step into your day from, to allow you that base level of who you are to guide the world you encounter, to respond to your experiences rather than to react, to move through your day from strength to strength, the sense of stability. I invite you to take a few deep breaths to anchor in to that foundational self, that foundational identity from which all else blooms. Imagine it beneath you, a stone, solid, unmoving, which you can easily find your footing upon. Whatever that core foundational self may be, I invite you to take some deep breaths. With each breath, imagine that foundational stone providing energy up through your feet, up through your legs, up to the top of your head, filling you with that foundational self, that stability of perspective, that peace that brings wholeness. It has this foundational aspect of yourself, seeps through every pore, bringing you a sense of stability, continuity, the ability to have a solid perspective, allowing you to respond to the world around you rather than to react. I invite you to imagine the next breath, this next answered prayer of air from beyond, meeting that foundational self, energizing it, bringing it a fervor for the day, giving you a sense of joy as you look forward to what the day may hold, now anchored in a foundational self, solid and secure. Now, as you accept these breaths, I want you to reach beyond the breath itself and imagine the source of that breath for you, whatever may come to mind. What stands behind the air you breathe? What force permeates each breath and therefore brings you sustenance through oxygen, sustaining your entire body. Find the same force at the base of your foundational self, that rock you imagine yourself standing upon. Where does this come from? What is at the core of that rock? What exists before it, leading to its existence? And on each end, finding the same source, the one who makes each of us in its image, sovereign, still, with guidance from our ancestors and strength when we come together in search of this source. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. So we now experience these two ends of the same source, that which forms our internal world, that which forms the world outside, that which provides us a basis for self, that which gives the self sustenance to continue growing and changing. I invite you to take a moment of reflection, unfocused on breath, allowing the breath to come in and out as it will. On what you can give back to this source. What is it that you perceive beyond self, beyond other, and what it seeks from you? in the context you exist in your day-to-day life, what particular presence do you bring to that environment, granted to you by the source of all life, sustained in you by the source of all life? How can you infuse this particular presence in all that you do, allowing the expectations you feel either internally or externally to conform to some other mode of self to melt away in your relationships to the world around you, to the space around you, to the plants or animals, people around you? What particularity can you bring charged with love, honoring the particularity of all things while embodying your own particularity? Bringing with joy that particularity, that it rests at the core of you to every action you take. Ashrei yoshvei vetecha, od yalelucha sela. Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Eloha. Happy are those who dwell in God's presence. They forever praise God. Happy the people who have it so. Happy the people whose God is that which begins, continues, and never ends. As you allow that particularity of self that is a reflection of the eternal, the one brought to us through our Torah, I invite you to root it, anchor it somewhere in your conscious self. Imagine it between your eyes and on your hand, an energy guiding how you perceive the world and how you interact with the world. A glowing sense of purpose, tangible on the fronts of your foreheads, the fronts of your hands, guiding you through your day, charging it all with meaning. And as you feel this presence from inside, this presence that is the core of you manifesting itself, take note of that feeling. And as that feeling becomes more and more present, I invite you to open your eyes, allowing it to feel normal as part of your body, ready for the day ahead. Boker Tov. Good morning.